Welcome into Market Day Report. I am Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in. It's the last time we're going to get together here, folks, before the end of the day. So, why don't we talk about what's happening at the end of the day? The top of the hour, that's the Cow Guy Close, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. I want to see you there. We got a great show, 3 great guests again. We've got an all-star lineup, and if you haven't noticed it by now, I used to do the rounds on all those other TV shows, and I got to know everybody I did these shows with, and I was able to pick out the best 15 5 days, 3 a day here on the Cow Guy Close. And you're slowly but surely, a lot of you folks are waking up to the fact that these folks are pretty good. But that's going to be at 1 Central, 2 Eastern. And if you miss it, we're going to put it back on the radio. And we put that on rural radio, Sirius XM channel 147, late afternoon, early evening. So we put it at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. And if for some reason you miss it then because of dinner time, well, we put it on late at night. And that's going to be real late, 2 a.m. Central, 3 a.m. Eastern. And that's the Cow Guy Close, rural radio, Sirius XM channel 147. So we give you 2 places to listen, 1 place to watch. Watching's probably more fun. Well, actually, you can DVR it too. But again, top of this hour, let the clock do the work. Just sit where you're sitting. Cow Guy Close, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. All right, let's take a look at see what these markets are doing after that corn. We got up to that 248, 249. Here we go. Do I hear 250? We're up 7 1/4 cents. 249 is last in March. 7.5 cents better in the May. It's 455 1/4. Maybe we'll shake loose some bushels if we get up to that 250 level. I'm sure there's some resting orders there. 7 1/4 cents better in Jan beans to 9.97 1/4. We're 2 3/4 cents over that $10 mark in March. 10.02 3/4. All good here. A lot of green on the screen. 10.11 3/4 is last in the May, up 6 3/4 cents there. Keep going. Let's go to wheat and see the wheat in Chicago. That's up between 2.5 and 4 cents across the board. March is up 2.5 cents to 5.61 1/4, and that's 2 1/4 cents off the high. May's up 3 cents to 5.70 1/4. That's Chicago wheat. Let's go to the hard red in Kansas City. That's up 6 1/4 cents in March to 5.65 even, a half cent off the high. May is up 6.5 cents to 5.72 3/4, and that is on the high of the day. That's hard red in Kansas City. Let's go to Minneapolis and check that out. We're 3 cents better there across the board. 6.06 1/4 last in March. That's just 1 tick off the high there. May's up 3 cents to 6.13 1/4, and that is on the high. That's a new high. Spring wheat, good going there. Let's go to the cotton, and we'll get to our guest analyst. 26 points lower in the March. That's come back from the bottom here. 69.69 is last there. That's March cotton. All right, let's bring in our guest analyst. It's going to be Mr. Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge. Ted, apparently there's no more corn left.
Yeah. Just 1.74 billion bushels, I suppose, but certainly less than expected. Also, Scott, I remember doing those shows with you too, man. Remember our perch up there on the CBOT floor? That was
yes, I do.
That was a different world, wasn't it? But that was a lot of fun. Anywho, yeah, okay. So if you'd have told me yesterday that we had 200 million bushels less corn on this December WASDE, which is historically known for being benign, I just said, wow, we're going to be up 20, 25 cents. But we're not. I mean, you got to put that in context. We were up 14 cents from Thursday's low going into the report, so we had already put some strength in there. But, I don't know. What I will say is that, seasonally, we like to see a rally in corn between, harvest lows and the end of the calendar year. I was starting to wonder if we had already seen that rally because of the early harvest. But now I've got more optimism, I should say. But I'm also going to say that, with the market not being up 20 or 25 cents, it really makes me wonder if the thought process is that, well, the USDA doesn't touch production on a December report. And in the January report, maybe we see an increase in production again. I don't know. I really haven't put my thoughts together on the production report yet. But, you wonder if that might be the thinking in the market, or that the market just feels like if we rally too much, then we're going to cut out a lot of this newly found export demand that the USDA just put on the balance sheet. So there is a little bit of a reluctance, albeit up 7 cents, and some of the highest prices that we've seen in quite a while. So we'll see. I am cautiously optimistic that we do continue higher, possibly into that January report. I have been telling producers that I do like the idea of getting 15 to 30% sold on new crop before that January report. So be looking out for something like that. In the meantime, beans are just followers. Wheat follower. The corn world carryover number is fairly bullish too. And I think it's really need more corn acres this year. So again, the darling is corn. That should continue into planting.
I agree with you, and it's good to see. The only negative is the darling is corn, and we're at 450, right? So we'd like to see a different number in front of that. But anyway, stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Ted Seifried, Zaner MarketCast, right after that. Maybe you are related. I don't know. All right, we'll be right back. All right, time to take a look at the livestock, right? We always do that here. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on live cattle. I pulled that up over the break just to see some decent numbers there. Solidly better bid here. Feb's up $1.97 to 189 even, 40 cents off the highs. April's up $1.62 to 190.57, and that too is about what, 15 cents off the highs. So that's not bad. Live cattle will take it anywhere between $1.30 to $2 better across the board. All right, let's go to the feeder cattle and see what that has in store for us. We've come off the highs, but we still have some pretty decent prices. $1.45 better in Jan. 257.25 is last there. March is up $2.17 to 257.37. There you go. That's feeder cattle. And then finally, let's take a look at lean hogs. They were not doing well the last time we checked, and they still aren't. $2.30 lower in the Feb to 84.20, and we've got a board that's $2.60 lower. April right behind it to 88.60. Let's bring him back in and see what he's got to say about it. Ted Seifried, Zaner MarketCast. We've saved you 120 seconds. Have at it.
Woohoo. All right. Yeah, what a mixed livestock board. You got things going in opposite directions, but it's really nice to see what the cattle complex has done the last 2 days. A lot of strength yesterday and really building on that strength here today, kind of saving itself from looking down into the abyss of a what could have been a much deeper correction with the funds being as long as they are. It seems rather than exiting, they are adding to those positions, and now we're back up near those highs there for live cattle, not too far off for feeders either. So that's good. A good look. I think there's a lot of confidence and demand going into the holiday season. That was a little bit shaky maybe a week ago, but I think we're feeling a lot better about that. And we know we don't have enough. We know we don't have a ton of animals out there, historically speaking, but we are at higher weights. So, it kind of balances out a little bit. Either way, the idea that demand should stay strong is, I think, the driving force. Aside from that, hogs really under pressure, holding on to the trend line for the time being, but really kind of sniffing it out and testing it. We'll see if they can do something similar to what the cattle just did or not, right? You do feel like the funds had been using the hog market as, looking at pork as a cheaper substitute to beef and maybe a recessionary hedge. Maybe they're feeling that they don't need that anymore. So, yeah, we'll see. The hogs need to hold here or very soon.
Real quick, I mean, you go to nice places in Chicago. What's a nice steak cost in Chicago nowadays?
I think 10-ounce filet, which is kind of my jam, about $60 would be my guess.
And how's that compared to what it used to be or what it was?
I think $45. I'd say $15 more, right? And that's compared to 2020 or 19, like right before COVID.
I guess it's not too bad. It's expensive, and in percentage terms, it's a pretty decent chunk. All right, just was curious, and we've asked a few people that, and you're pretty much right in line with what they were saying too. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much, Ted. Ted Seifried, Zaner MarketCast, coming to us from Chicago.